Peer reviews. Okay, the whole idea is that one group presents their work, another group reviews their work, provides them with feedback on certain criteria. So they tell them what's good, what's bad, what needs to be improved, and give it a rating 0 to 5 on a number of factors, usually about between 4 and 6 factors. And the presenting group gets the mark that the reviewing group gives to them. In the requirements review, we're intending to review your understanding of the requirements and whether you think that they're a complete set of requirements or not. The biggest problem in software development is usually with the requirements. Either the requirements are ambiguous or they're incomplete. And so we'll have a review to see whether they are clear and complete. The design review, is your design going to solve the problem? Is your design suitable for what you want to achieve? We'll have a review on that. And the delivery review is your system complete, tested, supportable, and ready for delivery? Now, the first two reviews are worth 5 marks each because they're very much a review of about a week's work or something like that. The final review is worth 10 marks because it summarizes about 4 or 5 weeks worth of work. Now, with the reviews, you must submit a valid review. To be valid, it must exist, and there must be comments that are meaningful and support the mark you've given. So if you put in some statement like, yeah, it was really good, that's not very meaningful. If you don't put in any comment at all, that's also not very meaningful. If you do not put in a valid review, you do not get a mark for your group's work, because I've got no demonstration that you understand anything, so I can't give you any marks for it. And I've had a number of people do that, and also a number of people appeal on all sorts of grounds. And also argue that I didn't get it done because I didn't realize there was a deadline, or my internet connection went down, or I used the wrong form, or whatever it is. I'm sorry. If there is no valid review submitted, you don't get any marks. Now, the midterm deliverables. We want to check in the midterm, have you got some idea of what you're doing? So we'll assess your project plan, that is your overall plan of how you're going to do something, and the project management. So are you managing, are you adjusting the project according to what's happening? Now that usually means we have to see, if you're working using Trello boards, we like to have a look at what's going on the Trello boards. Or if you're using Jira, same thing, we need to know what's going on there. Or if you're using Scrum Desk or any of the other agile ticket systems. If you want to run the project through a spreadsheet, and I've seen that done, then we want to have a look at that as well. So we want to look at work planning and work management. I also want to assess your team formation and your team management. Now, team formation, people are quite okay with that. That's what the charter is, and what you agreed to do, what you're aiming for. Usually this is the charter. But the team management is, what are you doing to ensure that the team remains engaged and committed to this project? What are you doing to ensure everybody's getting along? Now that there are things that you can do and should do to manage the team so that it is more than simply a random group of people that meet accidentally from time to time and argue about things. So I want you to actually manage the team's performance, and I want to see evidence of what you're doing there. The requirements, we'll look at those. The architecture, the data management, and the user interface, we'll look at those. So the 3 design things we'll have a look at. Now, all of those deliverables are in some sort of a report or some tangible evidence somewhere, and they're assessed by your tutor, that's worth 25 marks. At the end of term, we assess the remaining deliverables, that is the software construction itself, which is largely an assessment of your coding rules to see how that's done, the software testing, and the support documentation. Support documentation, everybody groans as though it's manuals. Well, no, it's not. There are various people who need some documentation on the system, that is, who will use it, who will operate it, install it and operate it, service it, and who will maintain it. All right? Those three groups need different documentation, and you must provide that documentation, and we want to assess what you've done. We'll also reassess what you've done previously, because you may well have changed what you've done in light of experience or feedback or something like that. You could have started out with a design you found didn't work, you went back and redesigned it. It's only reasonable that we should have to reassess that work. All right, so that, because you could have made an improvement and you've learned more, is worth more marks than the first half term. So this is worth 35 marks. The delivery readiness review, each team presents the system. Usually you get to show off your system, and there are, or will be, a test specification that each tutor runs through that test specification to see that it does actually perform those functions. You get the test specification probably 2 to 3 weeks before the end of term as well, so that you've got a reasonable chance of actually delivering to the tests. So we're checking that the system does do what it's supposed to do. It has been adequately tested and it's maintainable. Right? That's worth another delivery readiness review. The delivered system, you demonstrate the system, and that assessment by a tutor is worth 20 marks. That's usually a lot of fun because it's pretty much the last week of term, and then you're kind of finished and you're able to go on and concentrate on something else. Books and sources of information. There are a lot of them out there. I don't have any particular recommended books, simply because there's just far too many. There are lectures that I've recorded. They're on UTS Online, and there's numerous websites and blogs available to you.